Hello everyone, Prime here, and today we're going to be doing something slightly different. So for this video, we're going to be taking an element of Hercules' lore and seeing how Cuchulainn would deal with the same tasks and situations if it was him to have to face the things that Hercules did. Specifically, we're going to be seeing how Cuchulainn would deal with the 12 trials of Hercules. Well, at the very least, just 10 of them, but we'll get into that. If you enjoy the video, go ahead and leave a like and tell me what you think of this one, guys. I'll do more if you enjoy it. With that said, let's get into this. So as a bit of background, Hercules was the last mortal son of Zeus and Hera. Zeus's wife despised him so much that when little Herc was no older than a baby, she planted vipers in his crib. The vipers failed miserably to try and kill Hercules and were crushed by him. Hera was responsible for many grievous deeds committed by our champion, but perhaps the most unforgivable of all was his famous filicide. Hercules proved himself to be a major asset to the king of Thebes, Creon, when he defeated his enemies in single combat. King Creon even went so far as to offer his daughter's hand in marriage, Megara, to the hero as a fair reward, and the couple had 2 wonderful children. The spiteful Hera just couldn't stand for this, and was still pretty jelly of Hercules, so she manipulated his feelings and drove him into a madness, forcing him to kill his young boy and girl. The pain he felt after realizing what he had done was legendary, and he sought out the Oracle of Delphi in hope of atonement. The oracle informed him that he would have to serve his enemy, the king Eurystheus, for 12 years to cleanse himself of his deeds. Little did our valiant victim know, however, that Hera conspired with Eurystheus in order to confirm a kill on Hercules, who, just like in Smite, was very OP at the time. Hercules completed these 12 labors and eventually went on to join his father and the gods in heaven as a god, but how would a similar man, with similar talents, thrust into the same position fare? The first trial was to slay the Nemean lion and return with its skin. Some say the beast was spawned from Typhoon and Echidna, parents of all beasts, whilst others say it was Zeus and Selene. Whatever the case, the lion was known to take women forcibly to its lair to lure men in, at which point the women would be transformed into lionesses and devour their victims. The lion's fur was immune to arrow fire and weaponry, so Hercules wrestled it to the death. Cuchulainn earned his name by wrestling a guard dog, so it's fair to say that he would also beat the lion this way sooner or later, should his weapons not work. However, the lion's fur was not the easiest thing in the world to penetrate, as we know, and Hercules was not the smartest of chaps. This is actually part of the reason why he gets himself into so much trouble. Were it not for Athena, I doubt that the demigod would have fought to use the lion's claws to pierce its hide. So assuming that Cuckoo's Gaebolg spear couldn't penetrate the lion's defenses, Cully would have just carried the beast back to Eurystheus. The next day, Cully was set out to hunt down a hydra, but not just any hydra, a magical hydra. Hercules cheated here and used the help of a friend who told him to use fire, and he did. Cuchulainn probably would not have this option, as he probably wouldn't know any of the locals or have any friends by his side to complete these tasks. I do think Cuchulainn would lure the beast away from its toxic trap and into a safer location, as Hercules did, and would probably chop off one of the heads or 2 before realizing that if he did so, the heads would grow back, which would be a problem for him. Though because Cuchulainn's using a spear, and the hydras are said to regenerate if the heads are cut off, not skewered, I'm going to assume that Cuchulainn would be fine just stabbing each head to death and winning like that. Until he met the immortal head. Now, Hercules ended up burying the head alive, and it apparently died eventually because it was turned into a constellation of stars by Hera. It's fair to say that Cuchulainn would probably dig the creature a nice grave, just like he did for the guard dog. Now for a boar, which was supposed to be impossible to capture for Hercules, who again cheated and was told by Chiron to chase the boar into some snowy fields. But Cuchulainn probably wouldn't have the aid of Chiron to do this, and so would have to chase the boar around like a madman, and it's fair to say that he probably would eventually capture it, be it by, I don't know, possibly getting mad and wounding its leg so that he could injure it and carry it off to the king that way, or possibly getting lucky and somehow chasing it into a snowfield just like Hercules and then capturing it like that. He probably might accidentally kill it, but let's just assume he succeeds and move on to the next task. Another capture trial is up next, and this time it was to capture Artemis's favorite stag. The stag would run away a lot, just like the boar, but Cuchulainn, noticing how mystical and magical this creature is, would probably not want to harm it, or knowing how innocent it is, something along those lines. He would place his hands into the earth and raise up the earth with the soil, toppling over the stag and then capturing it. Again, probably bringing it back to the king to show as proof. Artemis would be none too pleased about this, and likely have a fun conversation with Eurystheus. However, Artemis might even end up getting into a fight with Cuchulainn. As for who would win in a fight between Artemis and Cuchulainn, I have no idea, so let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. Next up is a spot of bird hunting and hunting birds with sharp metallic feathers and beaks made out of bronze. Surely does sound like fun. Cuchulainn would have to wade through a swamp just to be able to climb upwards and toward the bird's nest and kill them. This time he's sure as hell not going to strangle them to death. Instead, he'll likely just stab them with a spear enough times to drop them. Now, if the birds hear him coming through the swamp, as he'll probably be making a lot of noise through those thick waters, they'd probably have an easier time fighting him and, you know, not dying by fighting him in the swamp. Though Cuchulainn would have a much harder time fighting, of course. Next up, we have the Augean's stables. Were known to be terrifically smelly and dirty, so Eurystheus thought Hercules would fail to clean them. The farmyard animals that lived here made so much waste that the stables were pretty much uninhabitable, but Herc cleaned them up pretty easily and in a smart way. I don't see why Cuchulainn wouldn't also just do what Hercules did, that being to find the nearest stream of water, dig his hands into the earth and redirect the currents to the stables, cleaning out all of the pig waste in hours. I mean, Cuchulainn's toppled castles with his bare hands, so it's not unthinkable to think that he would be able to do this. Next up, we have another capture task. Hope that you're not getting bored of those. The Cretan bull was running amok in Crete, and so King Minos gladly allowed Cuchulainn to take the beast off of his hands. Cuchulainn, much like Hercules, would capture the sacred beast with nothing but his hands, before, of course, delivering it to the king. Now, upon seeing any one of these beasts, the king Eurystheus would flee in terror, sometimes hiding in a jar, other times just outright just running away. Suffice it to say, he's a bit of a coward. Now, man-eating horses, the beasts of King Diomedes. Hercules did this with some buddies, but again, Cuchulainn would not have any buddies, and unlike Hercules, who befriended the horses, Cuchulainn would have a hard time with them. Diomedes himself would eventually meet the warrior in combat with his horsemen and probably still be beaten all the same, potentially even still being eaten by the very horse that he rode with, and then having his warriors flee after that happened, because, you know, watching your leader's horse eat your leader, knowing that you're riding the same species of horse must be pretty scary. Cuchulainn may end the battle a bit chewed up, though. Hera told Eurystheus' daughter that the girdle of Hippolyta, leader of the Amazons, would grant her great strength, which she wanted a lot. Hercules' deeds were famous across the land, and Hippolyta wanted him as an ally, and so gave him her girdle, and whilst it is possible that Hippolyta could do the same for Cuchulainn, it's not as likely purely because Cuchulainn's exploits would have been less known. And of course, just giving him the girdle would be a bit boring, so Cuchulainn would instead just have to fight through many mighty Amazon warriors, which wouldn't be no small feat. He would then have to defeat the queen in simple combat. Now, whether or not he would actually kill the queen, or if she would realize how strong of an asset Cuchulainn would be at that moment, and just not fight him and give him the girdle, is, well, up to you guys. Now for the giant herd. Geryon was either said to be a giant with 3 bodies and 1 head, or 3 heads and 1 body. There are more variations of his appearance, but let's just keep it to those 2 just so we don't get a massive long list of confusion. Plus, I think you get the idea. He was a herdsman and looked after some cattle with his trusty two-headed guard dogs. The giant and his dog would probably still prove to be no match for Cuchulainn, but in the end, the fight might still last a while, and it's possible that Cuchulainn might even kill one of them, or both, but so maybe not. Cuchulainn's kind of an honourable chap, and all. Now Cuchulainn's completely finished with his labours because he didn't have any help, and Hercules cheated because Hercules did get some help. So he had 2 additional trials added, making them 12 labours. Don't give me that look, I know that you don't really feel cheated. Besides, we both know that Cuchulainn would easily dispatch of Cerberus, or at least he is capable of dispatching of Cerberus, because he gained his namesake by defeating a guard dog already, and he wasn't even a fully grown man at that point. As for the Hesperides apples thing, let's just say that he eats them. I wonder what would happen if he actually were to take a bite of one of those golden apples. You know, the whole immortality or denial of immortality 50-50 thing. I'm not sure about what would actually happen, so let me know what you think in the comment section below. And with that said, I suppose we've reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed whatever this was, then go ahead and leave a like. If you'd like more, or have any suggestions or similar topics that I could cover on the channel, then go ahead and leave a suggestion in the comment section below. And of course, if you want me to do more, let me know as well. And if there's any way that I could improve it whatsoever, again, leave anything you think could make this better down below. With that said, thank you very much for watching. I've been Prime, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.